Hey y'all, welcome to Your Drama, Not My Drama, where we gather to read Reddit stories about the drama in other people's lives so we can avoid having drama in our own lives. If this sounds like your kind of vibe, definitely subscribe and like and stay tuned for more. Now for our first story from the subreddit, Am I the Asshole? Velvet Galaxy says, Am I the asshole for locking my mother-in-law out of the house after she kept showing up uninvited at night? I'm already going to go out on a whim and say, no, you are not, but let's see what she has to say. So for the past few months, my mother-in-law has made it a habit to randomly show up at our house uninvited, and I'm not talking about daytime visits. I mean late night, knock on your door when you're in your PJs kind of visits. The most ridiculous one was about 2 weeks ago. She showed up at 9:15 p.m. That's a negative for me, but anyway. I let her in. 15 minutes later, she went to the kitchen and said, So there's no cooked pasta in the house? I'm hungry. I was shocked but tried to be respectful and told her nicely that we weren't expecting guests and had already eaten. She scoffed, just full-on attitude because I didn't have her preferred dinner ready. Another time, around 9:30 p.m., she came again, no warning, no heads up. I had just put the kids to sleep and I was trying to wind down. I opened the door and told her she really needs to call before coming over, especially this late. She cut me off and said, I'm not a stranger in this house. Like that's an excuse to show up whenever she feels like it. I have had enough. I spoke to my husband multiple times and he keeps saying, that's just how she is. Cool, but that's not how I am, and this is my home too. So yesterday she pulled up again around 8:50 p.m. I saw her through the window and didn't even bother opening the door. I locked it, turned off the living room lights, and let her knock. After 10 minutes of knocking, she called my husband, who was out at the time. He asked me why I wasn't letting her in, and I told him flat out, your mom isn't coming in tonight. I've talked to her, I've talked to you. Boundaries are not optional. Boom. Now she's playing the victim, telling family, quote, I locked her out in the cold. It was 26 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 79 degrees for those of us in the United States, outside, and she has her own damn house 10 minutes away. Am I the asshole? I'm definitely going to say no, and she should only be coming over that late and getting away with it if your husband is home to open the door for her and there aren't any requirements of you. But part of me was wondering if this is a cultural difference, like is husband and mother-in-law like from somewhere where people just kind of drop in on you without calling or asking? I mean, even wanting dinner at like 10 at night is wild to me, but maybe they are from another culture, and like, is this a cultural difference clash? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's look at some of the comments. User McMurrow says, that's how you do it. What the heck is wrong with your husband? Beck GL Mom says, what's wrong with hubby is he's a mama's boy who prefers to piss off his wife than his mother. His wife will come around, but he doesn't know what mommy will do, and he's scared she'll stop talking to him, and he needs his mommy. I will never understand how these spineless men convince women to marry them. Whew, and that got 1.4 thousand upvotes, guys. ACM 15 says, 100% agree. The things these women write about their boyfriends and husband makes me so happy that I am single. And that got 392 upvotes. Jank 1972 says, reading these stories makes me so happy that when it came time to meet my parents, my husband said to me, my mother is crazy, don't take her shit and I'll always back you up. Because I could not imagine and would not deal with someone who let their mother trample all over our marriage and our boundaries like that. One of the other things I wondered was whether or not it was a mental illness, but someone else asked OP that, and she said she is mentally okay, nothing is wrong with her, she is just entitled. So there that goes. I think that mother-in-law and husband need to get in order, or I fear that OP may be filing for separation or divorce. But what do you guys think? Is OP being unreasonable? Should she open the door for her mother-in-law? Or should a husband call off his mom and tell her to chill? Let us know. Now on to the next story. Our next story is from the subreddit entitled People. Waffle Tinsel says, my sister wants my husband to provide free transportation for all her wedding guests. Let's dive in. My sister is getting married soon. I was at her place helping with some wedding prep when she suddenly says, I want to announce free transportation for all my wedding guests, to make it look classy. I was like, okay, that's nice, but how are you pulling that off? She says, since your husband owns a transportation business and has a few cars, it'll be easy for him to handle. I said, all right, he will be here soon to pick me up. When he comes, you guys can talk and maybe bargain the price. She cuts me off and goes, no, I don't want to pay. I want him to offer it for free for my guest. I just looked at her. Then she adds, you can talk to him. He'll accept. He listens to you. I then asked her, why then do you want to promise free services to people when you're not the one providing them? She said, I have rich friends I invited for the wedding, and you know what that means. I want to make it look so classic so you can talk to him about it. I told her straight out, I'm not going to convince my husband to pause his business, offer up his cars, fuel, drivers, and time all for free just so you can look good in front of your rich friends. She said, I'm not being supportive to her. As a small business owner myself, I do know that people want you and expect you to offer your services for free, whether that's knowledge or something tangible. People think that they should not be charged. And I would turn to my sister if I were OP and say, yeah, your friends are rich, not you. Stop trying to pretend. I'm spending thousands of dollars on all the other services for my wedding, but I want your husband to offer his service for free. User Klutzy Contest 1640 says, the entitlement is eye-watering in this case. I'm glad you stood up for your husband and his business. Where did you think the money to pay for salaries would come from? Not to mention loss of income from all the vehicles being out of commission. Waffle Tinsel replied, which is OP, her entitlement didn't let her think about that. Imagine closing down my husband's business for a full day just for free. Nuclear Monty says, not even free. He has to pay the drivers and for fuel and insurance. So she wants him to pay out of pocket for her service? Hell no. Angus MacGyver 76 replies to that and says, not to mention that this scenario seems like a case where the guests won't be inclined to tip the drivers either. This is a lose-lose for the husband no matter how you approach it, and definitely way too much to ask as a favor or a gift. But maybe I'm just being conservative because I'm a guy who refuses to ask my friends to help me move, let alone something like this. And I'm also like that. Like, I really don't like asking people to help me do something that I myself don't really want to do. So like my neighbors and stuff, I have a little 12-pound dog, and they'll be like, oh, anytime you want me to keep her, just let me know. And she doesn't shed or anything like that, right? But they have like a medium to big dog and it sheds. I'm not offering to keep it. I'm not offering to keep anyone's dog, which is why typically I just hire people to walk my dog. I don't ask anyone or depend on anyone to walk my dog because it's a hot summer day. I don't want to walk my dog. It's a cold winter night. I don't want to walk my dog. User KDG says, I used to do catering and had a few people want me to cater their weddings for free as a, quote, gift. Even if I was so inclined, I never was. My staff doesn't know who the fuck you are and they expect to be paid for their time. Exactly. This bride was asking a lot from complete strangers. We're going to end with Successful Dance 08, who has the quintessential line here. It says, if she can't afford the image she's trying to sell, maybe it's not the image she should be selling. Right on to that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that her brother-in-law should like offer this service for free? What are you thinking? Do you think she's entitled? I tend to think so, but you know, I feel like a lot of people are entitled. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and make sure you stick around for our next video. Remember to stay drama free. Until next time.